This is Theater 101. I'm Dr. Anthony Raimundo, and today we're going to be talking about stories. A story. Now, what is a story? Well, story generally is a tale about some event. You've often shared stories with your friends, like, gee, you want to hear what happened to me yesterday? Now, that could be a story. You're telling a story. A joke is a brief story. We watch television, we see different programs, we watch a story, unless we're watching a talk show. But even on a talk show, they might share stories. We watch movies, they tell stories. We read a book, it tells a story. We go to the movies, we rent a movie, we watch something on Netflix, we're watching a story. So, what is a story? Well, a story is a tale that has a number of different elements. First of all, a story has to have some kind of a theme, some kind of genre. All right? A genre, for example, is the basic category that this story would fit in. For example, a romance story would be, the genre would be romance. If you're watching a police story, or then the genre is crime. So a comedy is another type of genre. A horror film, a horror story is a different genre. It's horror. So we have different genres. And in those genres, we have various themes. Like, what exactly is this story about? What basic idea, what basic concept? And that would be a theme. And we're going to discuss all these different elements individually. But right now, I'm giving you an overview. So that's theme. We also have a setting. Where does the story take place? Does it take place down the street from me? Was it my story that I was telling about something that happened at work, at school, at the office, at the mall? Those are settings. Now, you could be reading a book, and it could be about a Western, which takes place in a particular time, not just a place, but the time can also be a setting. If I'm reading the Bible and I'm reading about Exodus, well, I'm now in ancient times as well as being in Egypt. So these are elements of a setting, and we're going to discuss those in a little more detail. So then we have conflict. Most stories, good stories, have to have a conflict. Like, what's going on? Good versus evil. I'm the good guy, and and I'm up against this bad guy. There's some conflict going on because he's trying to, do whatever. Maybe it's a love story, and the conflict in that love story could be, I got a big job offer that's going to take me to New York when I live in Colorado. My girlfriend's going to stay in Colorado, but now I'm leaving. So we have a conflict. Are we going to do a long distance relationship, or are we going to break up? That's conflict. So that's another element. Plot. There are certain points along the story that move the story along. Those things are called plot. Okay? They're like the goals. Goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, those sort of plots to the story. Then there are characters. We can't have a story without characters. We have to have people. The characters in the story could be animals, like some Disney movie. We could have animals. They might talk. We've seen those kind of stories. So we even had stories where the cars were the characters and they talked. And they even had relationships. So we can have characters of all different types, but we need characters in a story. So we have a story then has certain elements. It has a genre, the theme, conflict, characters, setting. Those are the things that we need to have a good story. Now, we're going to be talking about this in further. Now, the stories can also have a mood. You know, is it a happy story? Is it a sad story? Is it a suspenseful story? That sets the mood for that particular story. So we're going to be looking at each of these different elements that make up a good story. But now I also want to bring to your attention that one of the other things that we're going to be talking about in this class is that, and it's based on a concept that I came up with. I even wrote a book. It's called Our Storied Lives. Now, I'm not asking you to purchase it to be part of this class. I'm just presenting to you my theme, my background as to what I'm about to share with you. In that we too are living a story. Just like the characters in the Bible. They're real people, and that's their story. Sort of like a documentary. So we all have our own documentary that we could tell. And in our own personal documentary, our own personal story, we have a setting where we grew up. We may have a setting of where we moved from where we grew up. We have a setting as to where we work, that particular setting. We also have maybe conflicts. Maybe there were problems that we had to face in our life. Maybe some of us had the conflict where we, had an injury and we had to overcome it. Maybe we lost our eyesight and we had to learn how to do different things. That's conflict. Any type of a problem in your life was a conflict. And then there's the resolution. We didn't mention that one. The resolution is, how was the conflict solved? By the end of the story, we should have a resolution, something that happened that put an end to the conflict. And we ourselves are characters. You may have not think of yourself as a character, but you are a distinct character. You're not the same as someone else. I mean, in a classroom of 25 students, and I was a teacher at one time, I had 25 different characters. They all didn't behave the same. They all didn't talk the same. They all didn't really there's similarities, but they're not exactly the same person. And I don't think you would want to be a carbon copy of someone else. So these are the things we're going to be talking about in conjunction with what goes on in a story. And remember, this is Theater 101, so when you perform in a theater, you're performing a story live in front of an audience. If you're going to the movies, well, you're not, those actors filmed it, and now you're watching the production of what they've done to bring a story to you. An author writes a book. Whether you go to the library or you bought the book, when you're reading it, you're reading his story. But, as I'm also mentioning it, is that I too have a story. My life is a story. When you write a resume, you're writing plot points of what you did in your life at a particular job, in a particular career. Those are plot points. At this year, I did this. At this job, I did this. So you see, very similar to the theater, to movies, because stories can be real or can be fiction. But even the ones that are fiction have to have an element of truth. They have to say something that's truthful. They have to present these elements in order to be a good story. And in reality, theater, movies reflect life, and life can be placed on a screen. We can tell our story and have actors deliver it. So that is where we are. We're going to share this with you and all these different elements in this course. So stay with us. You're going to have a lot of fun learning about the elements of stories until we start breaking down each individual element, and we're going to begin with setting. So stay with us. Stay with this course. You're going to love it. You're going to have fun. And God bless.